Hey there, Forsaken here, and today we are talking about the endgame of The Division. I've made a video about if you should buy The Division with a link in the description below, and I have concluded that the game is worth it for the leveling experience, the world design, and immersiveness alone. But of course, that's not all there is to do. Story content is finished at some point, so today we discuss what you can do afterwards, which leads us to the endgame of The Division. What you need to know as a sort of disclaimer is that The Division is a looter shooter. This means that if you are familiar with the concepts of the item acquisition of Diablo 3, you get some loot with stats that are randomized, rolled, and find pieces of gear, sets, and different other gears with which you can equip your character. After that, you can try to acquire more and better gear with better stats, or other gear pieces to gather more gear with even better stats. Now that the loot circle is out of the way, let's talk about the ways you can go about in The Division to acquire said gear. Firstly, there are daily and weekly missions, which are basically quests. In these missions you have to do tasks and get caches or random gear pieces as a reward. They reset daily or weekly depending on the mission. The mission types include DLC missions, of which we will talk about later, missions, so basically dungeons, an objective like kill X enemies or craft X rare items. The rewards are not substantial, but are a nice bonus. Secondly, there are missions, which are your standard MMO dungeon affair, with some trash mobs and a boss at the end, after which you get some loot and currency. You can run them in one of 3 difficulties, but not all difficulty levels are available in all missions. The main difference to WoW, for example, is that they have really cool effects, interesting locations, and a good story that guides your way. My first time in a few of these is a time to remember, as I was actually engaged in why I was there and what was happening. Some missions, bosses drop unique gear that is very hard to obtain otherwise, so if you want to get that one specific piece of gear, you might need to farm one mission repetitively. Thirdly, there are Incursions, which is hard group-focused content that is kind of like missions, but wave-based and not harder to complete, but with greater rewards. At number 4, we have high-value targets, which are specific encounters that you can do on a weekly or daily basis. It's mostly required to kill X number of waves, with a boss wave at the end or something similar. To do those, you need to collect intel first, which is obtained by doing missions found in the safe house after you finished all the story content in a part of the map. After you get enough, you can start those high-value target missions in the base of operation. Be aware though, some of those missions fail immediately if you die once. The reward, especially of the weekly high-value target missions, are pretty decent and a good way to collect gear pieces. For all the PvP fans, the endgame is the Dark Zone. This is a certain area of the map that you can only enter at specific checkpoints. This is basically an open world PvP area where you can attack and can be attacked by anyone. It is also a very attractive PvE zone, as NPCs drop a lot of very good loot and you can loot caches which contain multiple items of loot. The problem is that you cannot use the gear immediately, as you have to collect it from the ground first, after which you carry it around until you extract. There are various extraction locations on the map where you can call in a helicopter, which takes a bit of time to arrive, and then you can attach your loot to the helicopter's hook. If it stays there for a minute, it gets extracted and you can use it after you use your stash. The fact that extractions are shown on the map encourages PvP, as you can be killed and some of your loot pieces, as well as currency and Dark Zone experience, you lose your level progression a little bit in the Dark Zone, are dropped and can be picked up and extracted by other agents. If you attack another player that has not attacked anyone, you are marked as rogue though, which means that anybody can kill you without going rogue themselves. After you survived for a set amount of time without being engaged in PvP, you get a reward in form of XP and cash. The Dark Zone currency is used at vendors to purchase gear and weapons. There are also bosses, chests and more in the Dark Zone. This is very lucrative, but you can be ganked by 4-man squads and lose all your gear, but the tension is real, and massive is set to add leaderboards and other improvements in the upcoming patch 1.6, so we'll have to see what's get added and changed. The Underground is the first of 2 released DLCs at the moment. If you know Diablo 3 Rifts, you have an idea what Underground is like. In the Underground there are certain styles of rooms randomized from level to level. You start the Underground by going to a separate area and setting up your difficulty and certain directives, which are conditions that make it harder to complete a mission but increase rewards. You then go into the Underground and complete a random mission out of a pool of certain missions. After you finish it, you get rewards, XP and other things. You progress along 40 Underground levels that are separate to your main progression. You can unlock new directives and the ability to do multi-stage runs, which means that you can get 3 missions in succession without the need to restart. If you are solo or wipe in a group though, the whole mission fails and you need to re-enter again. I only played it solo and it is a ton of fun for me, as it's also quite challenging if you activate some directives, and I really like that. You notice certain rooms or layouts after a while, but it is still fun for me, even though the rewards are not big. There's also unique cosmetic gear to unlock upon reaching max level in the underground. The second DLC is Survival, which has the story of you going to the Dark Zone because there is the rumor that antivirals have been found there. But you crash land and need to extract. In this mode, you start off with green gear in a separate instance of the map with 24 players. You can play this either in PvP or PvE mode. Your objective is to find the antivirals and extract, similarly to the Dark Zone. But here you freeze out in the cold as there is a massive blizzard going on, and you also have an infection that kills you in an hour. And if that's not enough, you have to regularly drink, eat and take medication, which slows down the infection, in turn giving you more time to loot. So you go about looting, killing NPCs, gathering resources and gear while making your character stronger. After you go into the Dark Zone, where you can find specific survival caches, which, as all other caches in this game mode, can be opened by your main character upon successful extraction. To extract though, you need to craft a flare gun, and once you fire it off, a special NPC, the hunter, comes to kill you before you extract. Depending on your experience and gear level, it can be really tough to kill, as it has multiple abilities like healing and other things. If you kill him, the extraction helicopter comes in and you extract and keep all your caches. At the end of a run, regardless if you die or extract, you get points and loot based on your performance, which includes completed objectives, the times you were down, NPCs and players you've killed, and much more. This all accumulates to a certain score. The rate of gear acquisition is not the fastest, but it's an intense experience, especially in PvP. If you like Battle Royale style games, this one is for you. So this concludes our look at the endgame of The Division. It's a lot of grinding and it certainly is repetitive, but if you like Diablo style of games, you might be right at home. Again, I would recommend The Division to anyone just for the main story and the leveling experience. But if you are intrigued by the DLCs, you can purchase the Season Pass, which includes the 3 main DLCs as well as a cosmetic DLC pack, or buy the ones you like separately. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.